you say that, doesn't that just sound good? After
It's
being
about the border.
abused
This
for
is about the
years
border.
by an incompetent president that allowed people to pour through an open border, criminals from all over the world, murderers and insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums. Isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been in the history of our country? Isn't that a nice statement?
Well, I'm curious to know what it means. You declared a national emergency on the southern border. The order is still in place.
By the way,
even though you're saying
exactly
the border's
what you
secure.
said. It means we have the most secure border we've ever had.
Well, and I guess the question becomes, when will you know that the emergency is over? Are you planning to lift it at some point? Is it necessary? Because obviously the military is involved. Will you lift that emergency?
Well, the biggest emergency is the courts aren't allowing us to take really.
We're going to talk about that, but talk to me first about this.
That's to me the emergency.
Talk to me first about this.
The border
emergency.
now is not the emergency. The border is all part of the same thing, though. The big emergency right now is that we have thousands of people that we want to take out, and we have some judges that want everybody to go to
Some
court.
of them you appointed, sir, including three on the Supreme Court.
They change. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how that happens, but they do change.
Just to button this up, though, are you planning to lift that emergency order anytime soon, now that the border's secure?
We have an emergency. We have a massive emergency overall. It's an overall emergency on immigration. And if the courts don't allow us to take people out, if we had to have a court case, think of it, every single person, we have millions of people. We're going to have millions of court cases. Figure 2 weeks a court case. It would be 300 years.
So
all
let's
right,
talk
stop
about
right there for a
this,
second. Yes, well, we'll come back to this. We'll pick up right there where we left off. But that is the way we work. I mean, I know he's framing it so that we have millions of court cases. We don't have millions of people waiting for the court case on deportation. I mean, let's look at the recent history. You had close to 300, probably 70 of whom were not members of MS-13. If any of them were, I don't know. But there's no way to know because the court case never proceeded. That's not millions of people. That's 300 cases. And as I've mentioned to you before, the immigration court proceeds very quickly. It's like traffic court. So it's not some long proceeding. Now, admittedly, there should be more in the way of immigration judges, and there should be more of these proceedings and an apparatus set up so there can be more of this.
Well, he fired several immigration judges as part of the cutting. So if you need more judges, then why are you letting them go?
Yeah. I mean, this is sort of chaos by design where they deliberately got rid of this first group. As I say, was it 272, which was close to 300? And there are others waiting to go. But now they are, I'm going to say they're guarded in the way they're proceeding, not defying the Supreme Court per se, but also not obeying the Supreme Court order. I have said on this show, and I could be proven wrong ultimately, but I've said that Garcia, who is really the source of so much controversy, the man who was admittedly by mistake deported and now is in El Salvador, first in that max prison, now he's in another prison. He's not coming home. He's not coming home because this president has made it a point to not want him back and has created this mythology around him that he is MS-13. Now, I'm not saying he is MS-13 or not. I'm sure he may or may not be a good guy. This has nothing to do with him. It has to do with the fact that you've got to put him before a judge and go through the process of deportation. It's not long, as I say, but it has to be done. Otherwise, you could pluck Kim McAllister off the street, say that she's not in the country legally, put her on a plane to El Salvador, and she has no way of showing a passport, proving anything, talking to a lawyer. It's outrageous. It really is un-American. So that's what this is about. So when he talks about millions and millions of cases, come on, it's not millions and millions of cases. It's a process that must start. Go back to it, Tony. Thank you.
This, because obviously you've had a back and forth with the Supreme Court. In a 9-0 decision, the Supreme Court directed your administration to facilitate the return. You've talked about this in the past of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. from a prison in El Salvador whose deportation your administration called an administrative error. You said in a recent interview you could bring him back, but you won't. Are you defying the Supreme Court, sir?
No, I'm relying on the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, who's very capable, doing a great job, because I'm not involved in the legality or the illegality. I have lawyers to do that, and that's why I have a great DOJ. We have a great one. We had a very corrupt one before. Now we have a great one. And they're not viewing the decision the way you said it. They don't view it that way at all. They think it's a totally different decision.
Well, you say you have the power to bring him back, though. Your attorney general says, quote, that's up to El Salvador. Just to put a fine point on this, do you have the power to bring Abrego Garcia back as the Supreme Court?
Well, I have the
ordered?
power to ask for him to come back if I'm instructed by the Attorney General that it's legal to do so. But the decision as to whether or not he should come back will be the head of El Salvador. He's a very capable man.
Well, you know, and your attorney general has said the issue is with that word facilitate. Will you seek clarification from the Supreme Court? Do you need to go back to the Supreme Court?
We may do that. I was asking about that. We may do that. There are some people that say, bring him back, put him in trial, and you get him out right away, because you see what happened just this morning. Tapes came out, horrible tapes from his wife. You don't get much worse than that. You don't get, I mean, he seems certainly like a very dangerous, very bad person, but even the wife, who was so afraid, she was afraid to talk, and all of a sudden tapes got released this morning that were devastating to him.
Yeah,
And this
okay,
is the
you can
point,
stop there. He's now making it about the guy, and that's smart probably on his behalf to do that. But it's and he's right about the tapes, because they go back to frantic phone conversations that the wife had because she was being slapped around by this guy, and it's pretty horrible. Now she's out in front of the media saying, please, he is someone I'm desperately in love with, and you know, his kids need him and all this kind of thing. So, but the more you talk about the guy, the more you lose the plot. The plot is everybody needs to be in front of a judge before you can do this. And that's the whole game here. The minute you start plucking people off the street without any due process, you're living in a fascist dictatorship. And I'll tell you, I think we are, and I want to talk to Jared Yates Sexton about this. I think the coup is complete. And I think we're flirting with the total loss of American freedoms and democracy, the democracy that provides a people's voice that's heard by the government. I feel as though that's really close to being completely lost.
When you have a president who says, when asked, do you need to follow the Constitution, when he stood up at the inauguration, and while he didn't put his hand on a Bible, did swear to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, asked directly, do you need to follow the Constitution of the United States? And he says, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Right. He the way he plays it is, I don't know whether this is unconstitutional or not. He's suggesting, I don't know whether this is unconstitutional or not. I leave that to my lawyers. I know that I was elected to get rid of these people, and I'm getting rid of them. So, and the other thing I would say, and it's an adjacent point, but it's really an important one, I think, is that you're not getting rid of violent offenders and all of these violent criminals across America. You're plucking scientific researchers out of street scenes in Boston. You're detaining someone who is a scientific researcher, a renowned scientific researcher. You're detaining her and sending her to a Louisiana prison because she brought frog embryos in that the head researcher asked her to bring. And those frog embryos weren't declared, and because of that, she's imprisoned. I mean, it's outrageous. So, hearings, not trials, says Zana Griffith. All right. Yeah, I mean, immigration hearings, fine. If the point is, you need to be before a judge. All right. That was Trump's stem winder with Kristen Welker. He was also asked about Greenland. And again, I would put Greenland in the same category as Alcatraz. And the category is distraction. Now, let me just say this, and then we'll play the cut with Greenland. Trump is right about Greenland having valuable assets that can be mined by the U.S. and exploited by the West in many ways. And it is a strategic area in both the mineral resources it has and also militarily. So he's right about that. I don't think there's a revelation there. But when he starts smack talking Greenland and talking about taking it over, and, you know, I could take over Greenland in a heartbeat if I wanted to. I mean, this is the kind of thing he says. That, I think, is, again, another distraction. The American military is not going into Greenland. It's just not going to happen. But here is Trump on Greenland.
You and I,
They need us. We don't need them.
you and I talked, and I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not
I
with
think it's
Canada?
highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. They think we're subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our
But
taxpayers.
you are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that. We need Greenland very badly. Greenland is a very small amount of people, which we'll take care of and we'll cherish them and all of that. But we need that for international security. Do you know we have Russian boats and we have Chinese boats, gunships all over the place, aircraft carriers, gunships, going up and down the coast of Greenland. We need that to be protected. Internationally, we need it.
So you are willing to send U.S. troops to claim a sovereign territory?
I didn't say that. You asked me a question. Would you? Is there a circumstance? It could happen. I doubt it will, but it certainly could happen with respect to Greenland.
Okay, let me ask you about Iran.
Okay, I really just wanted the Greenland stuff. So you see, I think what you have there, and I don't blame her for asking the question, but again, I think you just have a shiny object, distraction-oriented kind of subject in American military force being used to take over Greenland. I mean, I just, again, don't think it's going to happen. Again, less than 1% chance. Just like there's a less than 1% chance that Alcatraz is going to be reopened and, you know, reimagined as this max prison. It's again thrown into the media zeitgeist, and then we in the media pick up on it. And I don't blame us for picking up on it. It's kind of an incendiary notion. I mean, you've got the leader of the free world who is talking about invading another country. Yeah, I think you have to give that some oxygen. But just as a practical matter, it falls into the category of distraction.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.